Hey everybody, this is Brandon with Pickleball Effect. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Electrum Pro 2. So this is Electrum's third paddle that they've made, and it's an iteration of their original Electrum Pro. So there's a lot of similarities between this and the original, but there are some differences, so I'll point those out. One difference is the handle length. So the original had a 5-inch handle length, while this one has a 5¼ inch. So it's a little longer, which is going to give you a little extra power and a little extra spin. Then they increased the length of the paddle. So the original was 15½ inches long. This one is 16 inches long. So it's not quite an elongated paddle, but it is longer than the original. I would classify this as a classic shaped paddle. Some of the same things as the original is the face. They're still using that raw carbon fiber that they're known for. That gets plenty of spin. And then it has the same thin core. So this thing is 11 millimeters thick, which is definitely on the thinner side. This is going to give you more power, but sometimes can come at the sacrifice of some touch, some forgiveness, and maybe even some stability. So those are some things we'll be paying attention to during the playtest. And then another thing I want to call out is the handle here. So when I pulled this out of the box, I noticed this line here at the top of the grip. So this is the same thing I saw on Yola paddles. Yola has this technology they call carbon forged handles. And when I looked online, I didn't see any marketing or anything on Electrum's website that talked about some similar technology as Yola's carbon forged handle. But sure enough, when I took off the grip, it had what looks exactly like what Yola is using with their carbon forged handles, which I'm a huge fan of. So what this is a handle that's attached to the paddle right here at the throat. So normally a polymer core will extend all the way through the handle, but it seems that they cut that off right here and then attach this carbon forged handle to it. So this does a couple of things for you. One, it increases the flex of the paddle at the throat, which is going to give you a little bit more power. It also gives Electrum the ability to control the shape of the handle. So when I play other super thin core paddles like this, the grip is usually really small, and that's not the case here. The grip feels very comfortable, and then they're sticking with this black leather grip. It's ribbed. I'm not a huge fan of it, but that is what it is. So this is the Electrum Pro 2. Let's go put it on the court and see how it plays.
After drilling and playing over 50 games in the course of 2 weeks with this paddle, here's my review of its performance. So not surprisingly, this paddle falls into the power category, and was one of the juicier power paddles I've played. I was pretty impressed. I think this will be one of the category leaders for power paddles. It wasn't perfect, but I have a lot of good things to say about it. Let's talk about attacking with the paddle first. It has high power and spin ratings, which open up more options when generating offense. It feels like all the energy you put into your shot gets transferred to the ball. Of course, things like drives, counters, and speed-ups all benefited from this, but there were other areas I noticed that it was helpful too. I could execute offensive drops better that were flatter and had more topspin. I could put more pressure on the other team when they were at the baseline or in the transition zone. My form rarely broke because I was trying to add more power, and my backhand volleys naturally had more speed without trying to overcreate. Speaking specifically to the spin, I recently reviewed Electrum's Model E and thought I was getting more spin with the Pro 2 compared to it, which was surprising considering the thick core of the Model E. The paddle positively influenced my offensive ability in a variety of ways, which was really nice since I'm not a big power player and need some help from my paddle to get the speed I need to win points. The paddle is weighted towards the head, which made it feel a little heavier than its average 8.1 ounce weight. However, because the paddle is so thin at 11 millimeters, it felt easy to maneuver compared to similarly weighted paddles, though I wouldn't consider it a fast paddle. Let's talk about the soft game now. So with the core being so thin and the ball coming off hot, you gotta think that the soft game is going to be trickier with it. But I was pleasantly surprised with the paddle in this area. The paddle has a crisp, sort of hollow feel to it that I was really into. Everyone I shared the paddle with all commented that they liked how it felt as well. It didn't have that dense, firm feeling that I'm accustomed to with thinner core paddles. It didn't take me long to start hitting good drops and dinks. Now I do think that I can adjust to pretty much any paddle when it comes to dinking, but that isn't always the case with drops from the baseline and transition zone. The one area that didn't come quickly was the resets from the kitchen when I needed to take a lot of pace off the ball. However, I put some time into drilling that shot with the paddle and I got pretty good with that after a while. The paddle plays predictably off the face and it has that pleasant feel, both of which contributed to the paddle being more controllable for a power paddle. I wouldn't say that the paddle will enhance your soft game, but it is controllable. Of course, I wasn't perfect with it and could control the pace of play better with a control-focused paddle, but I was pleasantly surprised and happy with how it performed with the soft game. The paddle has a medium-sized sweet spot, which is pretty good considering it's an 11mm core. I remember when Selkirk dropped their 12mm core last year, and they had a tighter sweet spot compared to the Pro 2. If you're an intermediate to advanced level player, then the size of the sweet spot won't bother you. But if you fall into the 3-5 or less skill level, then the size of the sweet spot will have more negative effects on your game. Additionally, I noticed some vibration with shots near the edge of the paddle. I added some lead tape to the bottom 2 corners, and that helped reduce the vibration, but it was still there a little, so I didn't like that. Here's my recommendation. I think this will be a power paddle category leader, but I don't think it is right for everyone. It has the tools to put a lot of pressure on your opponents with its extra power and spin, and it is controllable because of its nice feel and predictable play. However, it won't improve your soft game, and the medium-sized sweet spot is not player-friendly for beginner-level players. If you're an intermediate or advanced level player that wants a juicier power paddle, then I would take a close look at this one. If you are a lower intermediate to beginner level player, then I think there are more player-friendly power paddles out there, like the Yola CFS 14, for example, that may fit you better. So there you go. That's everything I have for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope it helps.
Oh, shit. You read that.